It's a twerking
I recall Central Park and Fall. You dirty transistor slut. How you tore your dress. Oh, what a mess. This has been a wild day, you guys. Holy frickin' fart snacks Batman. Whew. I'd use all kinds of swear words, but it's really not appropriate for the YouTuber channel here. Hold on. Just, I got to de-information these boxes. That's amp number 1. Let me de-information this one to you. This will be amp number 2 of 2. Let's see here. I got love letters attached here. Okay, Mr. D, it's your time to turn and burn. This is brand new, never been hooked up. Virginal. We're gonna slide it up in her. We're gonna pop her cherry. Okay. Let's read love letter number 1. Did you guys know that this entire year I have been working on, side fact by the way, this entire year I've done nothing but work on amplifiers that I received in September of last year. And the rest of this year I'm going to do nothing but work on amplifiers that I received in September of last year. And probably most of half of next year is going to be nothing but amplifiers that I received last September. You guys have murdered me with work in September of last year. I am getting 1 and 2 phone calls per day about, hey, I sent you my amp a year ago. And I got to tell them the same story. I'm trying, you guys. You sent 800 pieces of equipment in about 20 days. Before I was out here screaming, going, no, stop! I tell you, the next time I take on work, I'm doing it completely different. Okay, love letter number 1, which goes here. Let's get back on topic. I would like this box to be Sunbag capable. What little has been used, it was only a time in dusty conditions, and I'd like to afraid to give it a bath. I'll say I'm sure it's very dirty on the inside. Upgrade the cooling situation. Pathetic fan for 4 transistors. I never liked this cabinet. It's mostly heatsink, honestly. I mean, the heatsink goes all the way to the back of the cabinet. So from pretty much like right about here in the cabinet forward is heatsink. It's not enough, man. I mean, like a Whipple supercharger on top, blowing air down in here. Get rid of any cheap Chinesium parts like you normally do. Power ground wire replace with something longer, 3 feet, and good quality stuff you use. Of course, Stinger. If possible, please replace with transformers you use. No, there's not enough room. Okay, that's love letter number 1. Love letter number 2. Replace transistors with HG2879 16D08s. Power wire upgrade fuse, bypass. Just do you do to make it like it should be, should have been to start with. Okay. Punch a hole in the top lid and add a high flow fan. I have a heatsink fan cradle as well. Okay, hold on. We'll come back to that. I would like to be able to run a radio with this that swings about 40 to 50 PEP. Oh, a little tight. Okay. Let me know if that's a problem or make it so I can, please. Thanks. Okay. This gentleman called me and was so polite. And he says, hey, have you had a chance to even think about looking at my boxes? And I'm like, no. And he says, can you please look at my boxes or we're going to have to talk about sending them home? And I said, okay, well, I'll send them back right now. And he goes, man, I'm such a huge fan. I just don't understand why it's taken so long. He was really down. He just, he wants his equipment to work. He bought this stuff like over a year ago and it's been sitting here. I understand. I'm empathetic to that. I get it. And there's no excuse that can justify it other than I took on way too much work and there's not enough of me to go around. And it's my fault. I could sit out here, never shave, don't bathe, and never leave my house, my shop, never see my family, and I'd probably get caught up in about 4 or 5 months. I'm sorry, I'm young and all my shit still works, so I want to use it, like my knees and my hands, and my kid's young and still wants to go do stuff with dad and that kind of thing. So I don't feel bad about it when I'm not here. I'll say that much. I said, well, dude, let me get to the end of the week and let's see where we're at. So here we are. We're at the end of the week. And this is a brand new Texas Star. Let's go ahead and let's take the tin off this thing real fast. And let's see what level of hose fuckery we got going on the inside here. If this has got MOSFETs for a final, or for the driver's section, we're going to have to pull all that horse shit out of here. And now he's sounding like, because he didn't know a whole lot when he first got in the game. Well, in the year that he's been waiting for me to do something for him, oh no, he's learned a little bit. And he has self-admitted that he feels that this isn't really enough cooling on this amp to make it safe. There are 4 Toshibas in this box. There are 4 DEIs in here. God damn, dude. What the hell, Texas Star? Look at that. Four DEI 2879s in here. And I said, well, if it was me, I'd bypass all this driver horse shit. I'd put a piece of coax from here and bypass this variable knob. Piece of coax from here, and I'd go to here with it on the board. And get yourself a 100-watt radio, like a Striker or something. Bypass all this driver shit, pull this out, disconnect all this stuff. Of course, pull all this shit out, run a piece of coax from here over to here, and run this as a straight 4-pill with a 100-watt radio. But I would use these transistors. So there's a little gap at the back of the cabinet, and then there's a little gap at the front. So there's about this much heatsink versus this much heatsink. I will say this, the board design in the Texas Star kind of sucks, but it's tried and true. You put the Toshibas in this thing and they run forever. The major upside to the Texas Star is the way the transistors are laid out on the cabinet. You're not hyper-saturating one fin with a bunch of transistors, right? And what I mean by that is we're looking at the heatsink lengthwise. So a lot of the boxes that we build today, we'll take and we'll stack all the transistors down one side of the cabinet, and it's going to heat load just one portion of the heatsink. By them having 2 here and 2 here, and they're spread far apart, there's a lot of sink material between the transistors, which is good. As far as pressurizing the cabinet, that's not going to do you a lot of good. I mean, we can punch a hole in the lid and punch some holes in the side and maybe have some metal bits fall on the inside of the amp and short everything out and burn it to the ground. Or we can just put a good fan on the heatsink, which will do you a whole lot more good than forced air cooling. Now, there are some serious up advantages to forced air cooling, like what we've got going on here. This is forced air. Air comes in the top, goes across all the components on the inside, wraps around and blows out the back. Or however anybody decided they wanted to put the cabinet together. In this application, the air comes in from the back, tumbles through the heatsink, kind of wanders around like willy-nilly little sissy pants, and then gets blown out the top. I don't know. I read a book on law, pressure, thermodynamic, space enclosure bullshit, and basically when I boiled the book down, threw it in the pot and stirred it around and let it cook in the cauldron of my head, what I came away from that is it's a little bit more efficient to push air into an enclosure than it is to pull a low pressure through it. It's much more efficient to apply the pressure to an enclosure than it is to try to overcome all the drag on the inlet side of things to pull air through the enclosure. I don't know. I'd rather have cool air hitting the top of the transistors and then making the air work, picking up energy, heat, in the exhaust path versus picking up heat and then recirculating hot air through the cabinet. I don't know. There's just something fundamentally inside me that says cool air top, hot air out back. More efficient this way, less drag this way, pushing air in and coming out the back than it is to try to pull air in and then blow it out the top. So, yeah. I wouldn't worry about too much about this, like us cooling this. But it's your time. This is your turn, my man, Mr. D. So I'm going to cut this video off and I'm going to quit babbling, monologuing, and I'm going to call you on the phone. We're going to talk about pros and cons, and let's find out what you want to do. And if it was me, I'd either put HGs in here and bypass this hibbity-me-jibby, or leave it so it's going to be a 25 watt drive, 30 watt drive amplifier. That means we're going to replace this horse shit with a real transistor, build this up so that it can be a one pill section with like a 2290 drive-in. Man, I wish I had some more 454s. I'm just out. And the 454 is such a wonderful transistor. Oh, the HG 454. I'm in love with that transistor, by the way, you guys. If you haven't had a chance, go look. I did a head-to-head comparison. Charger was nice enough to sponsor us at the BBI Bakerman break this year, and he sent out a 4-pill for me to play with, test, look at, evaluate, and then we raffled it off. And it was in a new, they have the same style enclosure, but they've changed it. They've made it bigger, and they made it a little bit wider and a little bit more room to work in it. A little 4-pill in a box. It's a little bit bigger than this. And it worked really, really well. I mean, it's 600 watts with like 30 watts of drive. It was stupid. Let's beef this one up a little bit and change out the transistors over here and do power wire upgrades and change out the driver. Or let's pull the Toshibas out of this little thing, keep it in some semblance of working order so that you can put other pills in it and sell it if you want, or have me do it, and then put the Toshibas inside the Texas Star. That's the decision that you're going to make. Mr. D, I'm calling you now, sir. And gentlemen, everybody else that's watching that's not Mr. D, we shall return. Well, I got something I want to talk to you guys about. I am starting a Patreon channel. I think it's been well overdue. I've been talking about it for 2 years. And we got the entire thing set up. We'll throw it up right in maybe here, somewhere in here. Look, I don't know about you, I hate commercials. Absolutely hate commercials. I can't stand them. I watch everything on a DVR, and when I do watch YouTube, everything I watch it with has got an ad blocker. I don't know about you all, but I'm tired of the commercials. And I'd love to make it so that my content, the video that we're putting up, like these videos that we're putting out, there are no ads in them. Maybe one at the beginning, maybe one at the end, but through the whole video, there's no ads. I'm not going to lie to you guys, YouTube doesn't pay anything, like hardly next to nothing. So I do this pretty much just as a thank you to all of you guys for giving me all the work, each one of the YouTube videos. But in the same breath, I got to have the ads, right? Well, I'd love to get enough of you guys out there helping me out just a little bit to where we don't have to do ads and we can all enjoy the content. The other thing that I want to do for the Patreon channel is I want to give everybody a 48-hour access pre-accessed before it comes out on YouTube. So that means we're going to have a little bit of a bump. That means all my video content's going to come out available to the Patreon users 48 hours before it comes out on the regular YouTube channel. That makes sense? So if you become a Patreon member, you get to see the YouTube videos 2 days before they come out here on the regular YouTube channel. I sell a lot of equipment. And I don't know about you, but I'm subscribed to some people on YouTube, and I might get my notification, I click on it and I go and look. The damn video's been out for 2 days. YouTube hasn't bothered to notify me, not one bit. It's really annoying to me. And I know it's annoying to a lot of you guys that want to get some of the equipment out of here, right? That comes out of here, that comes up for sale. I mean, I hear it all the time. Man, I was like the second person to click on the thing and it was already sold. Right? That's because YouTube didn't notify you until it was like 2 days later. I mean, they are putting up, what did I hear a statistic? This is a couple-year-old statistic. There's something like 500 hours worth of YouTube video uploaded every second of every day. That's a lot of notifications to send out all over the place. So it doesn't surprise me that that runs behind next to doing the content. The upside to having a Patreon channel is that you will get notified as soon as new content becomes available. It goes bling, sends you an email, and then you can come watch. I'm not quite too sure how to do all of that, but I do know it's possible, and I'm going to learn. So if you guys want to help me out, and you guys want to come play along and be involved, there's going to be a ton of Patreon content too. That's going to come up just for Patreon users, just like everywhere else with the Patreon environment. I don't know, it's not going to take much. That's why I've got the Patreon set at $1. $1. And honestly, the main motivation behind doing this is to maybe we can grow this enough to where this is the only thing I do. I want to sit out here and I want to do this Monday through Friday, and I want to do it 9 to 5, period. This is all I want to do, is work on amps and equipment for you all. The other thing that this is going to allow me to do is, if I get enough supporters, is to where I have enough flexibility to where I can go travel to New York, and I can go to Connecticut, and I can go all through the South and go meet all of these guys and put them on camera for everybody to watch. But I can't do that without all of you guys. I can't. I'm stuck sitting here working on this stuff 24/7, and it is what it is. I want to grow this. I want to do more. I want to do more. And I thought, well, let's see if we can appeal to the radio community and see if they're interested in wanting to participate in this. But the 48-hour access to the equipment that's coming up for sale before you have to go and run up against everybody else, I think that's a huge deal. Me personally. On that note, I want to say thank you. Come join us on Patreon if you choose. If not, continue to watch it totally free right here on YouTube. Thanks, guys. Have a great week coming up. And we'll catch you on to the next one, which is going to involve this amplifier and a 667. So here's that 4-pill with the Toshibas in it. Lights up, fan comes on. Let's turn on the 2950 and let's see if we can talk through it. Of course, 1000 watt slug and peak. Here, 1000 an average, 5 watt slug and reverse. So, hello. I can talk through it a little bit. Hello. Wow, that's bad. Hello. Wow, 1X. Yeah. Okay, as we all seen, that's not overly very impressive for performance. So, let's take a minute. Now let's look inside here. And let's verify that everything is working. I just want to see if the transistors heat up or not, you know? key and transistors like laying up against that output transformer. That's no good. Booting. We're booting. We're still booting. And we're booting some more. Hello. Hello. Let's give it a second. So, I was in Las Vegas this last weekend for business, not for pleasure. Literally went down to drop off equipment and come back. Man, the Raiders have taken over that town. I'm here to tell you. I mean, it's a long trip from Oakland to get there to see your same team, but it changed. I'm telling you, it's a change. Okay. There we go. Turn the amp on. Hello. We have 4 perfectly good transistors inside of here. Problem is the circuitry around them ain't the greatest in the world, I don't think. Okay, I'm going to rip the pills out of this, and let's stick it in that 667. And then we'll stick the DEIs that are in that 667. We'll slap them back in here for this guy so he can still have this, but have the quality of the 667. The bigger heatsink is what he's after, which I totally get, and I understand. Just checking to make sure the pills are working. We're not too overly concerned with what the watt meter's doing. We'll circle back to that once we put the DEIs in here. Okay. Gain to 22. Perfectly good. Gain of 35. Gain of 27. Gain of 39. So we'll put these two together, and we'll put these two together. Okay. Next step is we're going to take this 667, we're going to modify it. We're going to get rid of the junk DEI 22 or 2879s. We're going to place them, of course, with the Toshibas, but we're going to pull this out. We're going to bypass the whole driver section. We're going to give it a power wire upgrade. Back in here, we're going to do all of this. And we're going to throw the kitchen sink at it and make it really cool. But you know, Texas Star amplifiers are good amps. They've been reliable for decades and decades and decades. The problem is they lost access to the good components, i.e. they lost access to the Toshibas. And when they did that, they switched over to the DEIs. It's been failure after failure after failure. Well, now they're not able to get the DEIs anymore. I don't know why they just don't bite the bullet and go over and talk to my friends over at ICA Manufacturing or Brian Smith and just order up a bucket load worth of them. But it's not my job to wonder why. I'm just here to fix the amplifier. So we got 4 perfectly good Toshibas. There's probably somewhere between $600 and $1,000 worth of components sitting here on this little piece of paper towel. We're going to graft them into this amplifier, and we're going to make this amplifier as bulletproof as we can. Well, as we can see, the 667's all back in one piece. Just kind of curious what we got for HFE gains on these HGs, or DEIs, I mean. It's got a gain of 40 on it. It's actually really quite good. Again, most of these things are garbage. Let's see here. Been a busy little day. Oh, let's see what we got. What do we got? What do we got? Oh, 39. It's even a really good transistor there too. It's a shame it's not the quality of those. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? 39. $38. Okay, well, we got 4 good pills, and we're going to put them to work. We're going to go throw them into the other amp and bias that other amp for sideband. And when we come back, we'll be looking at that with the bias circuit in it, and then we'll test that guy. Well, that could become annoying. This thing was just strobing like it was at a freaking rave party. Huh. Bench is going to be a little bit darker now, that's for sure. Let's change light bulbs. Okay. Let's check out our preamp function. It is working. Let's turn this back down. So gentlemen, over here we have a 1000 watt slug and peak, 1000 and average, 5 watt slug and reverse back from the birth, 10,000 watt dummy load. We're operating at like 15.1 volts today. Let's go ahead and let's throw some drive into it. Here's drive. Hello, 1 2 1 2. Okay. Let's bring in the 667. Hello. Hello. I got this peak meter on too. My bad. Let me turn that off. Hello. Okay. So about 475 watts with 30 watts worth of drive. So let's zoom back out here for a second. I need the black coax. Let's put the derail striker into this real quick. Please note all the switches are out. Okay, so that means most of the input attenuator is bypassed on this. Most. Hello. You're gonna love these results. Okay, so let's go ahead and shut this off. So here's with the striker hitting it. Hello, 1 2, about 120 watts worth of drive. Turn the striker on. Hello, audio. 700, pretty solid. Very quick getting there. Hello, 1 2. Hello, 1 2. It's beautiful. Of course, let's put this in upper sideband mode. And then we're going to turn sideband delay on the amplifier. Hello, 1 2. Nope. Hello, 1 2 1 2. 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 1 2 1 2. We are good to go, boys and girls. It's screaming. Sideband's working good. AM's working good. Hello, audio. All right. Let's move on to the other amplifier for a second. I want to cover this real quick, and I'm going to leave this up to the owner. I strongly suggest that you leave this resistor attached to this pin. But if you take this resistor out of line, with the same striker wattage going in, look at what happens. Hello. You get like literally almost 1,000 watts or 800 watts out of this amp. Hello, 1 2 1 2. That's on AM. But you all know, as soon as we turn the sideband delay on, this one here, it adds this clump of resistors into play, and it acts as an attenuator, and we'll get this kind of action. Hello, audio, 1 2 1 2. The problem is with a 120 watt radio hitting this amplifier, is this resistor here is going to get so hot you'll be able to cook eggs on it in minutes. In minutes. And this acts as an input attenuator. Okay, the RF that comes in from the relay goes right by that pin and then goes over to the output side. I'm just going to show that to you. When you get it, this is going to be connected. I'd strongly suggest that you don't drive this with a 125 watt radio. I'd strongly suggest that you hit this with like a 35 or 50 watt radio. But how you choose to operate it is entirely up to you. If you want to remove this resistor from this pin, you can drive it harder. Your input SWR is going to go up a little bit, but it will make more power. Just food for thought. Hey, well, I'm going to try and struggle through this. Man, I want to get done doing my other job. This is 4 days I've spent working on just these 2 boxes in between phone calls. So let's get on topic here. We put the DEIs out of the 667 in here. I added bias for sideband, added sideband delay. We modified the front. We took the power on indicator LED out. Yeah, the other thing is that this fan that was in here was pathetic. So what we did is we upgraded it to a little bit bigger fan, as in like bigger size physically and taller, and a whole lot more CFM. Like, this thing is ridiculous. I mean, it is moving air. I'm gonna send the stock fan back, plus all the mounting hardware sitting over here, just in case this fan is a little bit too aggressive and too loud. But that little fan that was in here was not enough to get rid of the heat. So check this out. I know it sounds absurdly loud. Let me set this back. I'll just kind of walk away from it a little bit. But it's moving a bucket ton of air, and that's kind of what you requested. We've been sitting here chit-chatting back and forth on Patreon, the owner of this amplifier and myself. And by the way, guys, if you want to help support the channel in any way, like if you've ever learned anything from me and you want to try and throw a little bit of support to me, take a minute and come over here to Patreon. Just follow this address right here and come join up. I mean, I've got it set up really cheap, like $1. And I'm doing that for a reason. I want to do mass. I'm not into, oh, hey, I want everybody to pay me a bunch of money. Nope. Just give me a little bit of thanks. I'm asking for $12 a year, basically. That's what it works down to. So, yeah, that, and I want to make it the channel commercial free, and I want to be able to travel and do more interview videos, and this would definitely help me be able to do that. So if you like the content, you might want to kick me a little bit of love. But on the same breath, this thing is working like a top-notch racehorse here. So let's grab the Striker, derail Striker. Let's go over here and let's look at the L watt meters. It's 1,000 watt slug and peak and 1,000 in average. Hello, 1, 2. Slide it over so we can see that 5 watt slug and inversion. Hello, 1, 2. Okay. About 120 watts of drive. Hello, audio. Hello, audio. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Like I said, it's fully set up for sideband. Let's go ahead and go to sideband mode, and we'll flip up the sideband delay. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2, audio, audio. I would be afraid to push these little DEI transistors any harder than that. I'm thinking they might come completely off the rails and give up the ghosts. So, let me take a couple minutes and let's replace the Sharpie labels with real labels, and let's put some labels up here on the front on these switches so you know what you're doing. And yeah. Mr. D, we're going to call this a win for the home team. You got your 667 all done. And per your request, we went ahead and put some wires out the back for you to be able to hook up a fan. You said you've already got that technology lined out on your end. Upgraded the fan, added bias, put the transistors from here into here, put the Toshibas that were in here into here, power wire upgrade, and everything. I cannot believe this has taken me 4 days to do these 2 boxes. It should have taken a single afternoon, but between the four phones ringing over here, man, I gotta be done. This is what I want to do. This is all I want to do, and I gotta be done with it. So, gentlemen, I want to say thanks for tuning in, following along. I know this video is a little chaotic. It usually happens when I have to shoot them out of order like this. Things get a little bit crazy. But I want to thank every single one of you for coming by, checking out what I'm showing off here today. Mr. D, I appreciate your patience. I'm on the phone to you right now. Gentlemen, I just want to say thanks for watching the video. Thank you for taking time out of your day to just follow along with what we're doing over here. I just want to point out real quick, I have started a Patreon account, and if I've ever helped you or learned anything from one of my videos, I'd really appreciate it if you could come over and just help me out a little bit each month. It's going to strictly go towards video production, i.e. the cameras and everything to make this happen, and the software. And 2, it's going to go so I can make it ad-free. That's right, I'm going to monetize this stuff, but make it so only got to watch 1 commercial in the beginning and 1 after the video ends if you choose, and nothing in between. And the other thing is I want to do a lot more of the interview videos, and this would definitely help me be able to be more flexible, to be able to travel around and go see more of these guys and get their oral histories. So if you're interested in any of those things, please just take a minute, go to patreon.com and do the little bit that you can. I'd really, really appreciate your guys' support. On that note, I'm off to go fix some other stuff for somebody else. And have faith, nothing with the YouTube channel is going to change. The videos are still going to come out. They're still going to be free to all. I'm just saying, hey, if I've ever helped you or you've ever learned anything from my channel, take a minute. Help me out helping others. And the other big thing is, everything that goes for sale on the Healing Bench here will go to the Patreon channel first for 2 full days and then get brought out here on YouTube. So it's worth following along. And the other thing is YouTube is horrible about sending out the notifications when a new video's out. Patreon is instant. You're going to get an email, says you got a brand new video to come watch it. A little bit quick viewer time. That's all I got to say. Thank you, gentlemen, once again. We'll see you. Click, click, click.